Hello and welcome to Let's Enter the Arena. I'm your host, vmcampos, and this is the podcast where I talk with a member of the Magic the Gathering community where we focus on Magic Arena. Well, everyone, as of this podcast, we're knee-deep in the middle of previews for Core Set 2021, even though I could have sworn I just started to play with Ikoria cards. But anyway, let's talk about some Core Set 2021 cards with my returning guest, DevDoodle.
Hello, how are you?
I am pretty good. I could use a little nap, but I think I'll be okay.
Same, I feel that.
Is there anything you'd like to promote? Any social media and the like?
Oh, yes, of course. You can find me and follow me at twitch.tv/devdoodle or on Twitter at doodlesdevs. I'm there for all of your silliness, of course.
Excellent. And one of the last time I visited your streams, we were all playing like some party games together or something?
I probably wasn't sober. I think we probably were playing Monster Party from Jackbox or something.
Yes, exactly, yeah.
So I always do like a birthday stream for the people who are in my community a lot, and we've had quite a few birthdays recently. It's like everybody has their birthday in the summer, so I'm sure we're doing a birthday event.
Oh, very cool. Well, thanks for being on the show, and we're kind of in extraordinary times at the moment. Many parts of the country are going through the stay-at-home, and the whole COVID-19 is going on. But would you like to share any self-care tips, any positive thoughts and such?
Positive thoughts. My most positive thought right now is that Black Lives Matter. My second most positive thought is that I'm pretty sure that my crappy little garden in my backyard is the only thing getting me through. I work out there for about an hour or two every day, and I'm growing corns and beans and squash and tomatoes and eggplant and chard and so many delicious, good vegetables.
If it isn't Swiss chard, I don't think I'm interested.
Yeah, it is Swiss. It's officially Swiss chard. You know how they are. It's something else if you don't get it from the Swiss, I guess. But that has been a huge lift for me. It gets me outside. I don't have to interact with people. Also, I'm growing healthy food for myself and my family. So that's my my self-care regimen right now is try to find a nice way to be outside for a little bit. I think that's good.
Very cool. Thanks for that. Definitely. There's many ways for people to be part of the movement that's going on. So Black Lives Matter is very important topic to keep on the headlines. You know, change doesn't happen easily or quickly, and whatever way you're able to contribute, whether you're out there protesting on the front lines or maybe donating your time or money in other ways, or just being, cognizant of your own biases and such. I believe in a progressive society, and I think we'll get there.
We have to hope someday.
Yeah, I do. I've always had it in my mind, and I'm sure I'll butcher the quote, but Dr. King said, the moral arc of the universe is long, but bends towards justice. So sometimes when things feel slow and a slog and things are not changing, I think I'm positive enough that we will get there.
Yeah, I like that. Yes.
And then your gardening, that's pretty cool too. I don't have any space where I live to really garden stuff, but I've got a cool little planter full of succulents, and
there you go. That's good. Yeah, I have a lot of inside plants as well. I'm one of these horrible plant people, but it just, I don't know, it sparks joy for me to water my little succulents inside and, go out and pick tomatoes.
I should have kept the little labels of what they were, because I don't know what they are, but they look so cool, and I wish I could know what their names were, but I like how they look at least.
Send me pictures, I'll tell you what they are.
Oh, cool! You're a botanicalist.
Well, sure. I have so many of the different kinds. I can at least figure out what most of the normal ones are.
Okay. Very nice. Thanks on that. So obviously you're offering that we've got to do a podcast called Succulent Talk with Dev and VMC.
Yeah, the secret is water them, but not too much, but all the time.
Okay,
As
now
far as I
that
can
sounds
tell.
complicated. Yes.
Uh-huh.
Well, the true nature of the podcast is that we talk about magic, and we're right in the middle of so many spoilers, so many
That's true.
reveals, so many new things. And on the one hand, it's really cool to see new magic cards, but on the other hand, I've just caught up with the other 700 cards, so now there's 500 more to learn about. So
Yes, I have sort of mentally partitioned Ikoria off into this world of maybe someday I'll know what all these cards do. I don't know what all of them do yet. I don't feel like I'm ready for M21 to be here, but we're here, and that's
yeah,
fine.
that's fine,
I guess
definitely.
it's fine. It's we're gonna catch up eventually.
Let's do a super fast recap of things in terms of the last time you were here. You were the very first guest of 2020, and oh, what a different time it was. But we
It
were
really
talking.
was.
We were talking and speculating again about this brand new set coming out called Theros Beyond Death.
Mm-hmm.
And then so now that's already out, and we've also got Ikoria. So just before we talk about 2021, any general thoughts about anything at all about Ikoria or Theros Beyond Death?
Oh God. So many thoughts. What do I really want to say right now? I really want to say that all of the mutate is really fun, and I really like it, and that I think is the biggest thing to happen to playing Magic right now. Is that mechanic. I also I really like the companion mechanic. I know people are kind of wishy-washy on it. I think it's kind of neat. It's sort of a different game, though, in my opinion. It's almost as different as Fomander is to actual Commander, and I don't know. It is a little bit sort of wonky sometimes for me. I don't think that I could play confidently most companion games in paper the way that I would feel confident playing pretty much anything else.
What would you say about people kind of are saying that people are opining that it really feels we've moved into a brand new digital version of Magic in terms of with so many counters to keep track of in Ikoria, with companions in the command zone, with escape stuff in Theros. Yes. There's so much stuff that now it just Arena takes care of it for you.
Right, and I agree. I'm really glad that I don't have to count out the 5 million Ozolith counters and things like that. I am so thankful that there are programs that do that for me. Yeah, it is great. It is the equivalent of doing math with a calculator. It's wonderful. Thank you for having programs that do basic arithmetic and read for me. That's wonderful. But it does feel like it is a sort of different bird, if you're playing with your friends, you probably have a Sharpie, but you probably don't have 900 +1/+1 counters. So we're sort of entering into this zone of you always need to have sort of spare cards to draw on with you, and that reminds me of the good old days. So I'm very nostalgic for this time of not really knowing what you're going to need to bring with you. I like that.
Yeah.
I like the unknown.
Yeah, I can't wait to be able to safely play with people in real life again. It's been a little while, and there's a lot of new cards to play in real life. I like companions as well, and I've played a few decks. I've played just kind of a fun green-white Kahira deck, and so that was all full of cats and, combat tricks and such, and that one's pretty fun. And recently, if I'm trying to climb the ladder, I've done pretty well with the mono white Lurrus deck.
Nice. I also play a lot of Lurrus, but I don't play mono white. I run him in an Orzhov deck, and I have him in a black and red and everything, but mostly black and red deck. It's pretty good. I like him.
I think I got the idea for that one, or mostly the deck list, over from the ladies at Good Luck High Five. Shout out to them. They put out their standard. They put out decks that are cool and standard and such, not from the whole spectrum of what's out there. And this one appealed to me because I thought it was interesting. It had a cat, Foemander companion, and I was giving it a try, and I like it. It was kind of complex in the beginning. I lost a few games, but then once I realized how well it works, it works pretty fun. Although I don't like now that they changed the companion rule that you've got to pay 3 just to have the companion, then you can play the companion. I was just used to playing it right on curve, turn 3 or whatever, but I'm getting used to it.
I think the new rule is okay. It's fine. Like, we're all just sort of like grumpy about it because we were given dessert first,
Yeah.
But that's okay.
Yeah, I think we'll get used to it. I think if it was like this all along, it would be no problem, but I definitely understand why they needed to change it for some of the more problematic commanders. Whoops. Okay, are we okay here?
Yeah, I just swallowed some water. That's what happened.
Oh, okay.
Just coughing words, no big deal.
So I thought you were just spitting up your water about Loras.
No, just spitting up my water about Lukka.
Hasn't been banned yet, so we're fine, right?
Right. Yeah, you never have to play him ever if you don't play Magic.
Mm-hmm. Do you kind of know a little bit about the story behind that Planeswalker?
No, I know nothing about him. If you know things, please tell me.
You ready for some spoiler alerts?
Yes.
So basically, the short answer, then I'll tell you the detail. Lukka is a bad guy.
Okay.
He starts off as sort of like a good guy, as a tragic good guy, and he becomes a tragic bad guy.
Wow, okay.
So if you look through the various cards and such, what's going on is that he is he's part of the military of Drannith, I believe. And in Drannith, they hate the monsters, and they're trying to defend themselves against the monsters. But then there's Bonders who kind of have a strong communion with the monsters. And Lukka has latent bonding abilities, so he's ostracized because, hey, get out of here, we don't like people that bond with the monsters, so they exile him. And Vivian, he runs into Vivian, and so they become friends because they both like creatures and nature and such. But then Lukka tries to kind of convince General Kudro, his boss, like, hey, actually we can control the monsters to be weapons. And then Vivian's like, hey, that's not why I like creatures, not to make them as weapons, they're our friends. And then Lukka basically starts to use the monsters like that card, weaponize the monsters. He tries to take over Drannith, and he tries to, kill Kudro, and he tries to take over it all. And then there's a big old battle, and Vivian goes against him, even though they were friends. And then his spark ignites, and the Ozolith blows up or something. And then his spark ignites. So basically he was starting to kind of be villainous, as in using the monsters instead of communing with them, like Vivian, her point of view.
Interesting. That's all like very, very I was gonna say, like, it seems very like heavily influenced by a lot of like the media tropes that we've seen recently, like with The Witcher, like like sort of building from this sort of tragic hero. Interesting. That's cute. Well, I'm going to read a little bit more about him because that sounds fun, and I like his cat.
Yeah, exactly. His Planeswalker card's pretty cool, but it can get a little out of hand, especially if you -3 into Ulamog.
Yes.
But that was like the set that is like so passe now. We've got Core Set 2021 to talk about, so ready to segue into some newer, stronger, better cards?
Let's do it.
All right, what's your first card that you're liking so far in the newly revealed Core Set 2021?
All right, so here's a quiz. What color do you think it is?
I'm going to go with red.
No, it's black.
Oh, okay.
His name is Vito.
Oh, okay.
He's my new boyfriend. He's a thorn in my ass. He's a thorn of the dusk rose. He's beautiful. Mm-hmm. I love this card. Whenever I was scrolling through, like looking for like, oh, this is gonna be the thing that I'm playing. Vito's gonna be my man. He combos with Merchant and Teza. So, okay. Let's talk about this boy. He's a 3-cost, 1 black, 2 colorless, or whatever you want. Whenever you gain life, target opponent loses that much life. Okay? So far, this is the cheapest, best card we've ever seen ever, in my opinion. And then, on top of that, he has something else. That's right, everybody. More words on the card. For 3 mana plus 2 black, creatures you control gain lifelink until the end of the turn. Now, that might not be that important, but that's kind of a nice late game play if you need it. So I'm totally okay with that. But in combination with something like Heliod's Intervention, you can do damage and gain life and a lethal swing on like turn 3 or 4. Like, this is getting gross. So I'm going to be playing a lot of Veto. He's my first card. That's my man's.
When I was browsing through cards to pick as well, my eye also paused on Vito. His art is really cool. He's got like some cool black robes and like bloody hands and like exalting to the sky and the black roses back there. So I kind of like the flavor of it too, that it's continuing the Ixalan concepts with, Elenda, the Dusk Rose.
Yep.
And all of that. So I like how they're bringing that back. When I got back into Magic in 2017, we had the set that was just out was Hour of Devastation, and so the first set that came out new when I was back into Magic was Ixalan block. So I've got a soft spot for Ixalan, and
I do too, but it's because the art is just so beautiful, and I love dinosaurs.
Yeah, those colorful dinosaurs, those feathery dinosaurs. I loved all of that.
Yes, I did too. So yeah, I'm really excited about him. I think he's going to be great in pretty much every black-white life gain deck. If you're playing him in Historic with every like Heliod and Daxos and everybody else, if you're using somebody like Soul Warden, like this is going to be an absolutely outrageous card. I'm very excited about him.
Soul Warden plus Fountain. What was that one fountain that gave you life every single upkeep?
Is it upkeep or at the beginning of your turn? The Fountain of Renewal?
Fountain of Renewal. Whenever it happened, yeah, that's the one. It was just an artifact that gave you life every single turn, and then later you crack it for a card, I think. So yeah, some automatic life gain and vetoes there, helping you out.
Yeah, it's just gross, especially with Merchant. Teza, Heliod's Intervention. Like, he's going to be nasty. There are so many ways that you can cheaply gain life that he's going to turn those into ways that you can cheaply do damage. So I'm looking forward to that a lot.
I have a mono black devotion deck that I like to play on the ladder here and there, and sometimes it works really well and sometimes it gets outclassed, but I think it would be really fun here as well because, again, get that Grey Merchant out just at the right time, and not only do you do damage with all of those pips, but then Veto almost even doubles it, so that's definitely a game ender.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just, he's just going to be great. I think that I don't really know why he costs 3. I feel like he should cost more, but I'm fine with it. I'm happy that he only costs 3. And don't let anyone hear me say that, but it is kind of like, oh, okay. There are so many ways to gain life right now. It seems like too easy.
It seems we're sort of in an overpowered aspect of things. I was speaking with another guest about, the pendulum swing of power levels of Magic. It seems that we're in the power level of it, and the pendulum has swung towards power for a little while now, when we had it less powered back in Ixalan, I suppose.
Yeah.
But let's see how much more further the pendulum swings before we dial it back a little.
Yeah, I'm not interested in dialing it back too much now from this set. I think seems really fun. Yeah. There's some reprints and things like that. I did see that people are upset that they're not getting their wild cards back from those, but that is a thing. And if you're new to Magic, now's a good time to start because you're gonna get good cards.
Yeah, exactly. I think after core sets came back in 2019, core set 2019, they really wanted to make these sets as like intro products for new players. And with so many people playing Arena, then it's like, welcome back. Here's some cool cards at all levels, beginning, intermediate, advanced, valuable cards, playable cards for all levels.
And it's kind of touching on a lot of the players who are sort of lost throughout the year. Like, you start playing Magic and then you stop for whatever reason, and then you go for a few months without playing, and all of a sudden, your online collection just sucks and you can't play anything that's meta anymore. You've been there. We've all been there. We've all taken some time off. It's not a big deal.
Yeah.
But for the people who are newer and are coming back after, maybe a short hiatus, this is such a good way for them to build back their collection. It's hard to be sad about it whenever it's clearly doing so much more good for new players. Whenever there are players like me who have a bajillion wild cards and all of the cards that I could possibly want, like, it's hard to remember the little guy, but we got to do that.
Yeah. Well, my card, I like it for two reasons. One is that the card's fun, and the other is because Wizards of the Coast is trolling us. Have you seen the card Bad Deal?
I have seen Bad Deal. It's a very bad deal. It's a bad deal. Why would they do that to us?
So the card in question, 6 mana in total, double black plus 4 more. It's a sorcery. You draw 2 cards, and each opponent discards 2 cards, and each player loses 2 life. So 4 mana to draw 2 cards and lose 2 life, but then all your opponents also discard cards. So I love the card because it really messes with everyone at once. And in multiplayer, once again, when we get back to playing with in real life, I can't wait to troll my play group to have everyone discard 2 cards. But the other reason, again, that I like it is, does this art remind you of anything?
Yes and no at the same time.
Okay, let me pull this up.
I feel like this is supposed to be an iconic image, but I don't quite get it.
Yes, actually, let me send it to you right here in the Discord. This is...
Okay. That is much more clever than I thought it was going to be.
So this is the Predator handshake meme about everyone that, Player X, Player Y, shaking hands, etc., coming from the classic Arnold Schwarzenegger movie, Predator. So as soon as I saw this, I was looking at this on my stream. I was kind of going through cards with my stream, and when I saw this one, right away I said, hey, wait a minute, isn't this the Predator handshake meme image? And when everyone looked at it and compared it with the original Predator image, it's like, yes, it is. Wizards of the Coast is trolling us, just like how they put... what was that one cat in Ket that was that famous cat meme?
The coming around the mountains when she comes cat, that cat?
I think so, yeah. So I think they're slipping in some fun memes
into not that song, but, just to mess with the people.
Yes. I think they're putting some fun memes into the art once in a while here and sticking them on some cards. So this is going to be my pick here because, it's 6 mana, but it draws you cards, but it messes with all your opponents. And obviously, like in Standard and such, it might be a little slow, and only 2 cards out of that might not be amazing, but I like this in a multiplayer game, definitely, and I like the evilness of it, and black has always been one of my favorite colors in Magic, and that's why this is my first pick.
Wonderful. I like it.
And the flavor text, there are still places where a smile and a handshake are all you need to seal a deal. And the hands are full of blood.
Gross. It looks like they're doing a really weird handshake, too. Like, I don't know about this, but okay.
It's like that sort of like bro handshake, but they're just shaking their hands.
Very bro-y handshake, yeah.
And I don't know who had like a hidden spike in their hand, but that's how you seal a deal.
At least it's not spit. They could have made it look really gross.
Or something like dripping green or something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Like they each hawked a loogie into their hand before doing that. I'll do an altar of it. Don't worry. It'll be arriving shortly.
They're gonna be holding like a succulent between their hands instead.
Okay. That's like too twee. I'll make them hold, like a corn dog or something together.
Yeah. Yeah, then that'll make sense because that'll be the ketchup that's spilling.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. All right, very nice. What's the next card on the agenda that you like?
Well, I don't know if this is allowed, but I have a duo of cards.
Sure.
I figured you weren't going to be that mad at me, but
I know the owner of the podcast, and he's pretty lenient.
He's pretty lenient. So I wanted to talk about Teferi's tutelage, and peer into the abyss. This is like obviously a horrific mill combo. So let's get into it. Let me go back here so I don't mess up any card costs or anything and tell you what these things are. So Teferi's Tutelage is an enchantment. They cost 3 with 1 blue. And it says, when Teferi's Tutelage enters the battlefield, draw a card, then discard a card. Whenever you draw a card, target opponent mills 2 cards. So it's a 2-for-1 swap. So add that to Peer into the Abyss, which is a black sorcery that says target player draws cards equal to half the number of cards in their library and loses half of their life. Round up each time. You can do damage equal to half of a library. Like that's an absolutely bonkers number of cards to mill. So whenever I draw a card, my opponent mills 2. So I can draw half of the cards in my library and make my opponent discard or lose that much life.
Yeah.
So that's nasty. So if you pair either of those with Underworld Dreams or Nixilis or anything, it gets really nasty. I mean, and you can use Teferi's Tutelage with Timeless Wisdom and Song of Creation as well. So there's a lot of gross combos going on there. But for the mill people, there's the mill combo you've been waiting for.
And isn't it cool that this is the first time ever that they have keyworded the mill term?
Yes, I was reading about that and like how they sort of decided that there just wasn't a word for what they wanted. And so they just went with mill. And I think that we all know what they mean, so that was probably the best choice.
Yeah, I've seen on various articles and probably also on Mark Rosewater's podcasts and articles and such. I always that comes up once in a while about why don't we keyword this action? And there's always that about, well, what do we call it? You know, what word do we use that would make sense in the game, real world, etc. All the players call it mill because everyone, even if you didn't play back in the day, you know that millstone.
You know millstone, yes.
Yeah. So mills. And when I was listening actually to the Goldfish podcast a few days ago, they were talking about this, and they had said that even other card games apparently use the term mill, but Magic is the one that doesn't use it.
That's really strange. I need to listen to that. Like, I didn't know that other card games called it mill. I thought we called it milling because of millstone. Do we call it milling because of some other reason?
No. I believe it was Krim, and he was saying, in this other podcast, in this other card game, they call it mill, but they know that it comes from Millstone of Magic, even though it's not even in their game. They just know that it comes from that.
Interesting. Yeah. Huh. Okay. Well, that is incredibly cool. And I'm also I'm glad that they're not calling it something else. And we would have to have this weird conversation of why didn't they just call it mill? Yeah. So good. Yeah. Good on them.
So I like this combo. I like this Dimir combo. It's that's another of my combinations. Either it's mono black or Dimir or Orjav. Those are the colors that I like to play. And so here, this is a nice combo that you've picked here with this with these 2 cards. So a little bit of card draw, a little bit of damage, milling, all that good stuff.
I think it's going to be beautiful. I like it.
Now, earlier when you said, I hope this is allowed, after you started talking, I should have said, no, it's not allowed because you had picked the card that I was going to pick. I was going to pick Peer into the Abyss.
Whoa! Okay, well, see, that just shows you how good it is. Like, we're thinking the same thing here. Like, it's going to be nasty.
I love the art on that Peer into the Abyss. It's one of those, I'm sure it's got a name where you like look into the thing and the thing inside of the thing is the thing inside of the thing. I don't know, is that a fractal, I guess?
I was about to say fractal, but it's not a fractal.
Or maybe a Mandelbrot?
To be like, yeah, maybe that's it. It's very interesting. I do like the art a lot. And it's by Izzy.
Yeah, and then the flavor text. Oh, don't be so dramatic. When your eyes bleed and your brain leaks from your ears, then we'll talk about lost sanity. And that's a quote by Braids.
Yuck. I like the colors in the card a lot. It's very, very muted. Like, if you look at, like, the tones, it only, like, ranges from a sort of medium purpley red to a medium to light blue.
Yeah.
It's very, very muted and creepy looking. Very, very lovely. Lovely art.
Yeah. Well, let me pick my second choice in black, and my second choice is Massacre Worm. So this one's being reprinted. This is a 6-mana, 6/5 creature worm with some amazing art. It's got a lot of teeth and spines, and the additional text is, when Massacre Worm enters the battlefield, creatures your opponents control get -2/-2 until end of turn. So goodbye Line of War Elf, goodbye Paradise Druid, goodbye... well, not Arboreal Grazer, I guess, but all of those other mana dorks, -2 to everything. And then whenever a creature dies, whenever a creature and opponent dies, that player loses 2 life. So not only do you do a little board wipe of all those mana dorks, you also do some life loss.
And 3 black devotion. Come on.
3 black devotion, yeah.
I mean, this is going to go in the black devotion deck, and if it's not, why not?
It's a nice top end. It's a nice pseudo board wipe. It's a 6/5 and then devotion.
Beautiful.
So this is I had heard of it, but I had never played it because looking back, okay, Mirrodin Besieged was last time it was printed, and that was way back in 2011.
What's sad is I'm pretty sure I have one.
Yeah. Well, it's I'm sure lovingly played, well played, maybe.
It would be very, very well played.
Yes.
Very, very well played. I've won and lost a lot with this card. It's one of my favorite cards. I wrote it down on my list of things to talk about. So you stole one of mine. I stole one of yours. But it's okay. I have others.
Yeah. And this will also have one of the, what's the official name? Borderless full art cards. They've got so many weird names nowadays, but it's the one that's all full art, and that's an alternate art, different than the in-set art and the Mirrodin art. So have you seen that one?
I have. I really looked this one up so much because I think it's so beautiful. I love the really watercolory aspect of it. I think it's a gorgeous card. I'm so glad that they chose this one to do the borderless with. It reminds me so much of just the creepy worms on Dune or something like that. They did just a gorgeous job. I don't know the artist of that one. Is it Kotaki?
Let's see, what else has Kotaki done? They did Autumn's Veil. Oh, they did the cat token in Ikoria. They did Cub Warden. I love using Cub Warden in my Kahira deck. Unfortunately, I'm not a fan of that art. I like the comic book art of Cub Warden a little bit more than the regular art, but it looks like this artist has done...
I'm pretty sure that person also did the OG Lily, didn't they? I don't know. Is it a guy or a lady, or what pronouns do they use?
I'm not sure, but from the little bit of Japanese classes that I've taken, often a name that ends in ko is a female name, and kai might be a male name. So not sure.
Interesting.
But
okay.
That's usually cool. So Atsuko, that's a female name, and Keiko, that's a female name, and such. So just a little tip there. Not always. There's exceptions, of course, but oftentimes in Japanese, a name ending in ko is a feminine name.
Interesting. I learned something today.
So looking at it here, yes, they did create one of the original Liliana arts back on the Liliana Vess version of her Planeswalker card.
Wow. That was a long time ago. Moving on. All right. The other card I wanted to talk about was Chromatic Orrery, which is a really nice card that you can pretty much make never-ending mana with, as far as I can tell. It's an artifact. It costs 7, which is a lot, but that's okay. And it says, you may spend mana as though it were mana of any color. It has tap, add 5 colorless mana, and then pay 5. Draw a card for each color among permanents you control. So this is going to be great in your rainbow decks and stuff that you're just running everything. But if you are playing something outside of standard, maybe? Like if you're playing Modern or Legacy or Commander or Vintage even, who knows? You can pair it with things like Filigree Sages, which allow you to untap a target artifact. So pretty much any untapping of a target artifact is just going to allow you to untap forever and make endless amounts of mana. I don't know that they want you to do that. They probably don't want you to do that on Arena, but there are cards where you can untap target artifacts. There's a little blue card whenever he comes in, he boops your artifact.
We've got Voltaic Servant in Historic. It automatically untaps.
Servant. Yeah. There's a lot.
There's another key currently in Historic. Something key. What is that? Oh, here it goes. Manifold key. Pay one, tap and untap an artifact. So even if you're getting that 5 mana out of it and you pay 1 for the manifold, you still, it's not the infinite mana sort of thing, but it is a little bit more of that untappage that we like.
Yes. Or maybe not infinite mana, but way more than you need for a turn. So I'm probably gonna mess with that some. I don't know about you, but that seems good. Filigree Sages is from Shards of Alara, so like nothing new. But that's okay. That seems like fun. Cool. The only other card that I really wanted to talk about was the Commander card, Azusa, Lost but Seeking.
Oh, sure.
I just wanted to talk about the artist, actually, Winona Nelson. She did the card, or Arlen, she did art for Arlen. She did the art for Yasova Dragonclaw, if you remember that card. But she's a fantastic, amazing artist. And Azusa, if you look at the card itself, are you looking at it? Are you staring at how beautiful it is? This is like a monk card, right? So monks are not a thing outside of, or in standard at all. So this is like Commander World. But we get a lady monk.
Oh, okay. Okay, so that's like a subtle thing. They're I guess most monks are male throughout Magic. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. So we have a green lady monk, and I was very excited about it. There aren't very many monks overall, but we have a green lady monk now, and that's just great. So if you want to play Winona Nelson Tribal, I will support you in any way that I can, because I think that we should all be doing that.
Yeah, I'm looking at her art. There is a lot of great art that she's put out 3 years. Ooh, Captivating Crew. She did Captivating Crew. I love that card. You convince your opponent's creatures to join your side.
Yes.
Chittering Witch in Eldraine as well. That one's amazing.
A lot of her work is, in my opinion, sort of under-recognized, so I'm glad that we can talk about her for a minute. She's done a whole lot of beautiful cards. She did the Avacyn Guardian Angel card that everyone loved from M15. She did the bird token that is synonymous with horrible bird decks.
Speaking of birds, I see Favorable Wings, and that's beautiful. You've got these bird horses. Yeah, blue enchantment from maybe Avacyn Restored or something. Creatures you control with flying get +1 enchantment. Yeah, so that's her art as well. Beautiful art.
So she's who I wanted to talk about. There you go. But she's done a whole lot of Magic cards. But we don't really talk about her, and I don't really know why, because her work is amazing. She did Regal Bloodlord. She's done all of these cards that are you would know them if you saw them. Sky Marcher Aspirant. You know what that card looks like? Everyone knows what that card looks like. Squire's Devotion. Can you see it in your head? All of her people are beautiful. So as long as she's around, there's hope for the rest of the world. That's how I feel.
Yeah, I think part of the enjoyment of Magic is not just the gameplay and all of that, but even these little works of art that you have in your hand when you can hold them, or when you zoom in on them in digital formats. So when you have this beautiful green toned art with a very serene expression and everything, I like that other aspect of Magic as well.
Me too. I think it's important.
Yeah. Well, thanks for that. Let's see my next one. Okay, so this one is I'm gonna choose the what's the official name of this? What's the official name? The Chandra exclusive mountain. Have you seen that one?
Oh, it's just an altar of a mountain, right? Am I missing something? Am I blind? Is there Chandra in it?
No, but it's I sent it to you there on the Discord. But all of the planeswalkers are going to have their own custom treatments for their lands, and so Chandra's mountain, I think, looks pretty amazing. I don't play a lot of red, but this one stood out to me, and I love that it's got like the flame kind of like burning up at the bottom, and the mountain itself is kind of interesting, and I just love the new treatment of the border, so that's the one I'm picking here.
I like that the symbol and everything looks like it's on fire. I think that's really interesting. I am staring at this card as a geologist, and I want to know what is going on in this scene. Like, what are these rocks? I have to know. It's a beautiful card. I love it. Jonas de Roe. Interesting.
Yeah, so I can't... they haven't revealed the Liliana land yet, I believe. But they have revealed the Teferi land, the Teferi island, and that one looks nice. And I'm sure the Liliana swamp will look nice. And then we'll have Basri's plains. So general thoughts on the brand new Planeswalker Basri?
I actually just read about him before talking to you because I was like, maybe I'm going to have to talk about this. I don't know. I did not know anything about him. As far as I can tell, he's a brand new guy. He's from Amonkhet. He's like found in swirling sands as far as the art is concerned. I don't really know very much about him other than that he's in 6 or 7 cards.
I read a little bit about the description that they published on the mothership about him, and basically what happened was he was one of the last ones that had finished Oketra's trial. And as soon as he finished the trial, his spark ignited and he went off to some other plane and he hung out in some other planes. And when he came back after the Hour of Devastation. So he came back to Amonkhet after Nicol Bolas wrecked it all. So he is trying to help rebuild his plane with his knowledge that he's gained from planeswalking and still bringing... You know, even though all the gods are dead and Nicol Bolas lied to everyone and all of that, he's still trying to bring back Oketra's teachings and about solidarity and unity and so forth. And he's the new white planeswalker of Magic.
Interesting. He does seem cool. I like the use of a character who maybe wasn't there coming back. I think that's a neat sort of plot point. Diagrammatically. I was thinking about it from like an English perspective, of like a writing perspective, like having him not be there for the fall of his plane.
He's entering en media res. So only 3 mana for him and 3 loyalty, and he does stuff with creatures and all that fun stuff. But yeah, I like his art. He's got that swirling vortex of sand, and he looks pretty cool. And his arrow, from what I read, that arrow was also Oketra's arrow, so he keeps a keepsake of his
course,
god.
The divine arrow. There it is.
Yeah.
It is divine. We know now. Interesting. Can I ask you, how do you feel about the Teferi arts? There's a lot of them.
I saw someone's tweet that did the math that I believe that there were like literally 40 different Teferi cards, because there are the 4 different art styles, plus the full art, plus the extended, plus the foil, plus the blah, blah, blah. And that all adds up, 8 factorial or whatever, to 41 different cards. Wow. What do I like? I don't like the ones that just kind of show his energy moving a little bit. I don't think it's impressive enough for them to be 4 versions of that. I would have loved to have seen it that like the background is changing. Like if he's supposed to be like a time master, I would have loved to see like trees growing behind him and buildings crumbling through time. I don't like the version where just like his energy is different. But the other arts are pretty nice. I like the throwback to the classic, fourth edition border. So it's kind of yes and no on some things. What about yourself?
Well, as an artist, I feel like it's incredibly lazy to change one color on Photoshop and tell people it's an alt art. Sorry, but that's the equivalent of doing about an hour of work. Like, come on. That is not an alternate art to change like the degree of a color by that much. They're not different enough for it to be different. I thought it was kind of weird that they chose to do so many. Like, why?
I know, it's like, what is this? Why? Fallen Empires?
Yeah, like, why do we need so many? It just seems like maybe one alt art of Teferi phasing would have been cool. I love the idea of him phasing through time, by the way. That sounds amazing. Or like if in the background, if the different Teferis, he was just in different planes. I would love that. That would be so neat. And like what a cool way to like tie him into other stories later down the line. But yeah, I thought that the sort of Snapchat filter of swirly colors really didn't do it for me as an art person, and I don't know, to me it was just very lazy. But you know what do I know about art? I definitely don't know anything about it, so whatever, it's fine.
I don't know where I saw it revealed, but I thought, is this a typo, or did they copy and paste the same art more than once? Because I don't see any difference. And if you look at the first one and the last one, okay, there's kind of a difference. But then you look at the first one and the second one, and I don't see anything except maybe some yellow more in the background. But then
I think that the change is supposed to be that subtle. Like, we're supposed to see him phasing through time only by purchasing each iteration of the phasing Snapchat filter, but I am a person who doesn't do that, so I'm kind of at a loss here on this one. But you know what? I like Teferi. I think new Teferi versus old Teferi is very much the Spider-Man pointing at himself meme, but that's okay. And we're gonna get 40 more Teferis, so we have a lot of Teferis to look forward to.
I bet what you could do is when you get one of each of these, you put them all together, so the physical cards, and then you flip them like a flip book, and then you'll see it animated in him phasing.
Ooh, that would be really cool. Or if they were the double-sided cards like they used to have.
Yeah.
That would be really neat. You turn Teferi over and he's like phasing, but it's also the back of his body, so that would be really neat. Why don't they do that?
Yeah.
Wizards, dear wizards. We have so many good ideas for art. Please hire us both.
So I guess we picked a lot of great cards. Any final thoughts on any cards or anything else Core Set 2021 related?
No, but the first person to send me a Winona Nelson tribal deck, I'll send them a altar or something. I don't know. I got to come up with a prize because I really want to see it. I think it could work.
I think so. I think there's enough cards in there. That's always the thing about doing something tribal. Is there enough support? And like for me, I like to do extreme tribal in that everything's got to be the thing. If I do a cat deck, everything's got to be cats. Even though, yes, okay, it
has a cat on it. It doesn't count.
Yeah, or even like it's a good card. Banishing light is a good card, but yeah, there's no cat on it, so it's not a good card.
It's not a good card for me right now.
Exactly. So saying that, speaking of tribal, we're all hounds are now dogs. Thoughts on that?
Yes, I love it. I'm so excited. I watched all of Gavin, very bearded Voorhees, tweet video that he had about all the dogs. I'm really excited about that. I am a dog lover and a cat lover, so I am going to be playing a lot of dog and cat tribal, but dog tribal, that's gonna be so much fun. And I'm not sad that they retconned it or like errated it to be dogs. They were always dogs.
Yeah.
Hound was a lie. They were never hounds.
Yeah. When I got back into Magic, and one of the first decks that I was building was a cat deck. I was using Gatherer to search for cats to make a deck. And then I said, well, just for fun, let me check dogs. And I searched for dog, and it said 0 results. And I'm
Zero,
like, what?
yeah.
So
Not true.
Yeah.
I think it's also just confusing because, like, a hound is a very specific type of dog.
Yeah.
Like, why not just go with dog from the get-go? But I don't know anything.
So then, speaking of cats and dogs, Rin and Seri, Inseparable. That one's going to make a lot of people happy with a dog and cat commander card.
I do like that card a lot. I think it's very, very cute. I probably will play it, but I have no idea really what to like build around with it. So we'll see. But
I like that it's synergistic with itself in terms of it cares about dogs and it cares about cats, and each one does its own thing. So just get a mass of like bunch of critters out there and it'll do its thing, and when you'll be able to, you know, one-shot them with the ability 3 tap, and it does damage to any target equal to the number of dogs you control, and then you gain life. So as long as you've got lots of dogs and cats, you might pull it off.
I mean, dogs, cats, and then my man Vito. Done.
Yes. And then you've got the chromatic orrery in there, and then it'll all work out.
Perfect. And scene. Yeah, like that sounds great. I'll probably play that. Sounds jankadoodle.
Yes. So I'm looking forward to it. I do feel the release schedule. On the one hand, Paper Ikoria got pushed back a month, but we got to play it pretty early. And if you were in the early access streamer event, you got even earlier. So I feel that we've gotten plenty of Ikoria, although it still almost then feels like, but I've just barely got my hands on it, and now we've got a new set to worry about.
And that's kind of how I usually feel whenever a new set comes out. I usually at that point I'm sort of just getting to what I think of as like the peak jankiest combo that is available with these cards, and then, you know, I sort of get another burrito on after that. Like there's just too much. I don't need this many, but here we are. It's okay.
What did you feel about at the very beginning of the year? We were kind of like previewed at least the names of all of the cards of all of the sets that are coming this year. Very early on, we knew that there was a new set we knew that there was Theros coming back, a new set called Ikoria, a core set, and then Zendikar. What did you think about kind of knowing it that far in advance?
I mean, I don't mind. It helps me out because I can sort of reorganize which bits of my collection are going to come back in a rotation. That's easy. That's nice. I'm excited about going back to Zendikar. That's going to be great. But it doesn't bother me that we know. Are people complaining that we know things too soon? That it's not a surprise? I don't know.
I love the mystery of things a little bit more, and that's not a huge complaint, but I was one of the people that was sort of like, it was just the name, like, yeah, we're returning to Zendikar, but it's not a big deal that much. But I kind of felt like, it spoils the name. I would have loved to have known about it, 1 or 2 months beforehand, and wow, something to get excited for. We kind of feel like they told us a year ago, well, 6 months ago, and people are going to forget. But it's sort of like, well, the whole roadmap is out there, even though it's not, because they haven't told us anything about the cards and who's coming back. But I just felt like knowing that we're already returning,
know where they're going. Yeah,
and I kind of like the mystery. I know it's not feasible anymore, but I would have just loved for them to be complete radio silence, like no spoilers, and like, here's a new set. Because I read back and I remember back, like Mirage. No one knew what Mirage was in 1996 until you showed up to play it. No one knew any of the cards. And I would love that too, but it's like, we don't live in that world anymore.
We don't know, like, the internet is here. Like, there's no hiding anymore. Like, even the cards that they don't want released are already out, and that's frustrating. But
yeah,
what are you gonna do? I don't know.
And then somehow a booster pack ends up in a Walgreens in Minnesota or something, and it still gets revealed.
Yeah, and it's just like outrageous ways like that, exactly like that. You're like, oh, this isn't supposed to be released for a week, but here it is at 7-Eleven for some reason. Like, who is buying these at 7-Eleven? Question mark. But here we are. It's so weird. But yeah, I always kind of get upset at people for posting them. I'm like, you shouldn't do that. Why are you doing that? But that's how I am in my mind.
Oh, same here. I like some of the mystery of it all, and like, let it get revealed officially, and we can all talk about it. And do we really need to jump on some news or unsubstantiated news or trade secrets or whatever? I think.
And my favorite are the very badly translated ones. I still remember everyone freaking out about how overpowered a card was, and it turns out that like whoever had made up the translation just totally beefed it. People were really excited about a really OP card that was like nothing.
Well, Scryfall, they kind of do something funny when they don't know the name of the card. Do you ever notice that they kind of give it a fun name within the URL?
No, I didn't know that. What do they do?
So when Theros was still being spoiled, there was that one blue card that had like a bunch of like weird little creatures with mouths and a lot of like stuff flying around. And no one knew the name of it because I think it was in Italian or something. And the flavor in the URL, Scryfall simply called it, like card 728 nom nom nom.
No, I had no idea that they did that. Now I feel like I need to check the URLs. I don't think I've ever even looked up there to confirm.
Here it is like this. If you go to the current M21 spoiler page, there's a few cards in Korean. If you scroll down to one that looks like some sort of Hydra, they have it. They have it on the URL. Surprise Growth Spurt. And there's another one next to it. Dire Fleet Smashy Boy.
Dire Fleet Smashy Boy.
Because it's Rakdos colors, which I guess is the Dire Fleet, and they don't have a Korean translation at the moment, so that's what they called it.
Wow.
So I don't know how I realized that.
Dire Fleet Smashy Boy. He looks like a pirate. Looks like a pirate to me.
I think that's that one goblin back there. What was his name? There was that one goblin in the world of Ixalan in the flavor text.
The little monkey guy. Oh gosh. What is his name? He's the monkey goblin. He comes out, he's a 1/1, he's red. What is his name? I've played with him so many times. This is horrifying to me. Pirate monkey. Who is he? Pirate. I'm typing it in right now. Pirate monkey. MtG. Show me. This guy. Firebrand. Fanatical Firebrand. That's him.
Yeah.
Cute.
I guess he made it.
He made it out. He's there. He's still a pirate.
Yeah. So this is another example of that. We're getting a little bit of Ixalan throwback because if it's these colors, which is Rakdos colors, but in Ixalan that was the Dire Fleet, that was that pirate fleet, the Dire Fleet, and it looks, and then we're getting Vito also from Ixalan. So I'm sure there's a few others here and there that are Ixalan throwbacks. We're
trickling back in.
Yeah.
Fun.
Well, lots of new cards to still be revealed and new fun things to think about crafting with, either seriously or not. And so I think we've...
and we get Solemn Sim. Yay, that's fun. He's not in Standard yet, but he will be.
So we get two arts of Solemn. I hear people call it Simulacrum, which is the way I always knew it, but I hear also people call it Simulacrum and Simulacrum and like so many pronunciations. It's all good. But Sad Robot is what people also call it, even though if you've never played Magic and you start calling either of these arts Sad Robots, I don't see anything sad about them.
He at worst, I would say he looks apathetic. An apathetic robot is just any robot.
Yeah. He was not programmed for sadness.
No. I think in other arts, though, he has looked kind of sad.
Yes, exactly.
I think in the Kaladesh Inventions one, he's really sad.
Yeah, the Kaladesh one. All right, great. So we've picked some good cards, and I think those will trickle into various decks. So final thoughts as we wrap up the podcast.
I think we've covered a lot of cards. These were a lot of the cards that I was really excited about. Obviously, with Veto and Teferi's tutelage and Peer into the Abyss, we've come up with some silliness that I think we're going to have a lot of fun with as fellow blue-black players.
Yes. Our silliness, however, will not top Wizards' puns with new cards such as Chandra's Magmut.
Oh no, what does it say?
Well, it's just the name of it, Magmut. Like, it's a magma mutt. Yeah, Chandra's Magmut. That is literally the name of the card.
Wow. Okay, let me go find that one because I haven't seen it.
It's in one of these cool new
Chandra. It's one of the flamey border ones. Cool.
Yeah. It's just missing flavor text, but there is also some fun pun flavor text, such as Bolt Hound. Its spark is worse than its bite.
That's cute. I like the Bolt Hound art a lot. I think it's very cute.
Yeah, I like that. Like trails of red energy from the eyes and like the flaming legs and tail, and it's like a little greyhound and such. Yep, a lot of great art, a lot of stuff for people to play hardcore on the ladder, to make some brawl decks, to make historic decks, to make commander decks, etc. A lot of amazing cards. So thank you so much for being on the podcast and talking Magic with me. Do you want to promote any stuff again?
Just find me on Twitter at DoodlesDevs. You can join our Discord and Doodletopia. We all hang out. We do play other games other than Magic. I know it's hard to believe, but there's a room in there for everybody. So if anybody listens to this and they want to hang out, just hit me up.
I'm sure I heard it before, but hearing it again made me laugh inside that you call it Doodletopia. That's pretty amazing. I call everyone on my own. I call them the VMC crew.
The VMC crew. I like it.
Well, the pronunciation's weird because I am borrowing the C from VMC, but also the C for crew. So you just have to see it. It's VM crew, but I say it VMC crew. I'm borrowing the C twice. It's
cute. It works. I don't have a good name for mine other than Doodletopia. So we just went for Doodletopia, and it's fine. It's like our own Neopets. It's great.
That works. As for myself, I'm on Twitter and YouTube and Twitch and all that good stuff. Just search for vmcampos. I'm on Patreon. People can follow for free on Patreon to be alerted to everything that I do. At the $1 tier, you'll unlock exclusive stuff, and at the $2 tier, I will mail people vintage Magic cards from my collection. But no, not a Black Lotus. So those are the various tiers of my Patreon and where you can find me online. So, Dev, one more time, thank you so much for being on the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
This has been VM Campos, and I'll see you in the arena.